How do you study? Today on the Landlord Coach Daily-ish Show.
Five, four, three, two, one, zero, ignition, liftoff.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Daily-ish Show, a show not just for rental housing providers, but anybody looking for more time, wealth, and some more white space on your calendar so you can control your calendar, so you can go out and get in the business of life, right? Focusing on life output and not on income generation. How awesome would that be? Lots of people out there right now talking about passive income, and they don't have a passive lifestyle identified. What's about that? Right? We'll talk about that another episode, but that's what the VIP method is that I wrote about in the Time Wealthy Investor 2.0. You can pick up a copy on my website if you'd like at landlordcoach.com. So how do you study? That's the topic for today. And it was really a topic that came up for me from a couple that I met the other day that asked me specifically what my daily routine was like. And it was a really good question. I mean, I've never actually been asked that question specifically in terms of, what do I do from day to day? Because I do. I put in a full work day, even though, lots of times I'm not necessarily working. I mean, I'm probably working on me more than I'm working on stuff, but I do have other people that are doing work for me, right? But I'm also working specifically on me and, and some of the stuff that I'm, whether it's helping alter my base programming, in terms of mindset work. Maybe right now I'm just started writing another book, so I'm working on that, on drafts of that. But the question today is, how do you study? And that, uh, I guess I want to maybe back up a little bit because, people are talking about, I'm always sharpening the saw. I'm always taking the time to get better, to improve from where I'm at to where I want to go, and just putting different tools in my toolbox. But it's interesting because, to use that same metaphor and having tools in my toolbox, if someone handed me a wrench and I have an idea, I'm like, okay, well, that wrench works on that type of nut, and if you turn it in this direction, it tightens it, and if you loosen it in the other direction, it loosens it. A wrench is a pretty simple tool to use, right? Not a lot of I don't need a lot of instruction on how to use a wrench, maybe on how to fix something, right? But if I'm really at the base of it, a wrench really is not a complex instrument. If, however, I'm trying to figure out how to use a multimeter where there's electrical currents that are coming in, and or an amp meter where it's measuring amperage and voltage, and whether it's DC or AC, right? That's a little bit more complex. I need a little bit more training on how to use that. Well, it's the same thing with the tools that I put in my toolbox. So I do read a lot. I read all throughout the day. I read it in the evening. I read in the morning. I read a lot. And I read all sorts of different genre, not just necessarily stuff about business. A lot of it is basically, from NLP to self-hypnosis to copywriting to sales stuff to business. Then I do reach into some business stuff, mindset stuff, all different types of topics. But I don't just read them. I don't just pick up the tool and go, oh, wow, that's a, who's he, what's it. And that's something that I use. That's a spanner wrench, and you use that for whatever. And, and I really don't, I read once on how to use it. That's not really being educated with the tools in your toolbox. This is not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is I actually get and try to implement those tools and integrate those tools into my teaching, or if I'm going to teach that to someone else, or if I'm going to use it for myself, I want to use that tool in my toolbox. So that requires study. That's the difference between just reading something or being shown something and actually taking and picking up that tool and using that out of your, before you put that tool in your own toolbox. At this point, you're just borrowing the tool, right? So I don't know who said it. I know it's been said several times, but it would be so much better for you to go through one book 52 times than try to read 52 books and not really gather any of it. And whoever said that, I think is 100% totally spot on. I do believe that both are true, or a happy medium is true, where you can get a book and read it and study it and go through it. And most of my books are tabbed and dog-eared, and I get those little sticky tabs that you can write on, right? If it's a really important topic, and then of course I write in the margins. And then if it's really important, or if it's a really important book, what I'll do is I'll take that and I'll rewrite certain portions of that so it's in my language in a way that's going to be important for me to remember. So I can infuse that into my DNA. So I can infuse that into my teachings or my coaching or my own operation. Whether it's in the operation of a business or operation of life. So there's a problem with this, though. There's an inherent problem with this process, and that's the fact that it takes time. You have to have the time to do this. And if you don't have the time to do this because you're so time weary, you don't have the white space on your calendar to do this stuff, then you're never going to have the time to actually study. You might read, but you're never going to go back through the book again. You might read it. Wow, that was really good. Okay, what was chapter 3 about? I have no idea. That was 38 chapters ago. Okay, well, go back through the book, reread chapter 3, infuse that, study it, peel it apart. What did he mean there? What did he mean here? What did she mean here? What was the author trying to convey there, right? That way you can go back through that book through the lens of having read the entire book. Now you're a little bit wiser. Now you really have a better context of understanding what the author was trying to get you to, what the journey was, and you're going to have a much deeper understanding. Again, like my bride and my family and I are all Marvel movie fans, right? And I can't tell you how many times I notice something in a movie the second or fifth or 28th time we've seen a movie, right? It's the same thing in a book, and that's really the study of whatever it is whatever your craft is that you're trying to improve upon. So I think it's a really good question. It's not just how do you study, but are you making the time to study? Are you setting that aside in your day? And for me, my best energy is in the morning. So after I get my morning routine done, I shower. There's a Bible study program I like to watch. I read the Bible for a little bit, try to get 5 to 10 pages a day. After that, I open whatever business book that I'm looking at and I am reading it. And if I'm not reading it, I'm studying it because I've already read it once before. And I think if you don't carve that time out, it's really hard to be intentional about doing that because there's always going to be work fidgets that's going to invade that time that you've otherwise allocated for it. So I really, not only do you need to allocate that time, but you need to be brutal about defending it. So that would be my suggestion. And you can do that if your best energy is at night, then do it at night. If your best energy is mid-afternoon, then do it mid-afternoon. My best energy is in the morning. And that's generally when I take that time. And I spend sometimes as much as an hour to 90 minutes doing that in the morning so I can get my study time in. So that is all I have for today, everybody. If you are looking to connect, you can check out the website at landlordcoach.com/connect, and look forward to hearing from you. So if there's anybody that is maybe needing some help out there, if you're a business owner feeling stuck, whether it's in the operation of your business or maybe just the operation of life, I totally get it. I'm happy to help you any way that I can. It's not a sales call. Truly, we can just hop on Zoom, get to know each other a little bit, and I will help you in any way that I can. All right, everybody, that is all I have for today. Please be sure to place a value on your free time, because if you don't, someone else will. But most important, there is no amount of money that will make time irrelevant. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you guys next time.